In this CARS tutorial, I'll be demonstrating how to review a consultant invoice. So I'm logged into CARS and a consultant has sent me an email that they've sent in an invoice. One place I can get to an invoice is in this area. Right now you see there's 397 invoices in here. Starting sometime in spring of 2015, we'll be showing only the invoices that directly affect you, so you won't see anyone else's invoices. We'll also be working on an automatic email notification should an invoice come into you as well, so you won't be relying upon the consultants to email you to let you know that you have an invoice. That will all happen automatically. So one place that we can find an invoice is to go into the search area. So we can click Search Invoice. And in this instance, the consultant has emailed me and told me they've sent an invoice in for project 23101700. And since they've submitted it to me, I now have 30 days to go ahead and review, approve, and then get this invoice paid. So we see that this is the invoice from C+, and they have sent it to me. It looks like they've also included an invoice from Betamax, and you can see that one here. So I click on the prime, and I've got their invoice. So this is the basic information at the top. This comes from CARS. And then down here we've got the information that they have entered in, like, is this the final invoice? And they selected no. This is what they call the invoice. Then the time period covered is January 12 of 2015 through February 6 of 2015. Here's the name of the consultant contact. So if we should find any issues with this invoice, we can contact that person. And we see that it is an actual cost invoice. And you can see they've invoiced a little over $17,500. Previously invoiced $54,000, so they've incurred $71,692 to date. We have this contract maximum of $217,000. They can invoice for more than that, but they won't get paid for more than that amount. So since this $71,692 is less than that amount, it gets carried in over here. We've previously paid them or had them invoice for $54,170 in the past, so which leaves us due actual cost $17,522. Then we go ahead and we look at the fixed fee. So the fixed fee component, they have earned $8,441.29 to date. The max, they can't get paid more than that $14,940, so it's less than that, so it carries in over here, $8,441 minus previously paid amount. I know this says previously paid. It's truly the previously invoiced amount. So that's $4,548. And then due, fixed fee due is $3,893. You add those two numbers up, you get $21,415. So the goal is to go ahead and approve this invoice if there's nothing wrong with it. So we scroll down, we see that the sub invoice from Betamax is also here, and that's for $97.77 and 23 cents. So this whole invoice is for $31,192. The goal is to go ahead and approve this, but we need to be able to see what's in this invoice before we go ahead and approve it. So one thing that we can do is at the bottom we've got these supporting documents. If I wanted to see a progress report that they uploaded, I can click on this link. And this is going to be a PDF that they uploaded, so I could go ahead and download that document and take a look at it. So that's just supporting documentation. I'll click back, and we'll go back to the very bottom and we'll see this submitted partial invoice. This is generated by CARS. Right now this report just has some basic information about the invoice. We're hoping that with the next latest update of CARS that they'll have more detailed information. So this is just some of the very basic information about the actual cost, kind of what we just went through. But what we want to have in here is the breakdown by employee and by indirect costs and direct costs. So this is what it looks like today, but in the future we'll be having a more robust report attached in CARS. So I'll go back to the invoice. by clicking back there. And I need to go ahead and see how this 17,522 came about. So I click this View Details. You can see that I've got this previous invoiced external and previous invoiced fixed fee external. So if I need to change that, if they made a mistake, I can click that button. And we see we've got the direct labor here. So we've got Jackie Jones and Denzel Plus. They both worked the month of January. We're having consultants isolate their invoicing labor month by month, and that's because we can have overhead rate changes from month to month. So let's see, what can we do here? We could say, oh, Denzel Plus, he actually only is going to be paid $1,900 because there was a mistake made. So 80 hours, he actually worked 10 less hours. So let's go ahead and use this little pencil here. We have the ability to make adjustments. One of the last things we wanted to do was to decline an invoice because there was a minor problem. So this is an example. I can hit this pencil here, and we can only negate the hours. So we're going to take 10 hours away from Denzel Plus and $100. And we'll just say the reason is a demo because we just want to demonstrate why or how you can do this. So I'll click Save. And you'll see that Denzel's number here was not reduced, but it really just added another line here, subtracting 10 hours and $100. Another thing that we can do is we can remove someone's line entirely. So for instance, Kevin Love, he worked the month of February. If we want to just get rid of him entirely because this was entered incorrectly, I would just click this red minus to reverse the direct labor. And I'll say the reason is demo again, and click Save. And you'll see Kevin Love minus 40 hours. So it just took that information there and just removed it entirely. So you get a total labor of $56.50. Down here we have the indirect costs, and these are really the overhead for the labor up here. So we removed $100 from Denzel Plus, so that means we need to remove that $100 here. So you can see the current amount of direct labor invoiced prior to our adjustments was $4,500. Month of January, overhead rate of 150% gives us this indirect cost of $67.50. I'm going to go ahead and adjust that because we removed $100. So I'm going to say negative 100, and I'll say adjustment. And I'll click Save. And that is indicated there. Also, we removed that $1,100 from Kevin Love, so let's go ahead and adjust the direct costs for February. And we'll say minus $1,100, and I'll say adjustment. When you make adjustments, currently there is not a way for consultants to be indicated that an adjustment was made, so please work with them to let them know if you're making adjustments. But for now, we've got these two lines straightened out. For the most part, you probably won't need to do this, but we did want to leave this functionality up to you. So we've got direct costs. This is a lodging hotel stay, 5 nights at $70 a night, $350. Let's just say, hey, you know what? This was invoiced in the wrong month. Instead of adjusting it, I'm just going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to reverse the cost, and company will be able to add this another month. It doesn't have to be now, but if this is a mistake, you do have the ability to remove it entirely. So right now I just said, hey, you know what, reasons demo. There are no direct costs. And let's say, going down to the bottom, this fixed fee, 56.5% of $14,940 is the fixed fee amount. Total fixed fee, $8,441.29. Let's just say there was a math error and they're really only 55.5% done. I click on this pencil, say 55.5, and I'll say math error, and I'll click Save here. And I go down to the very bottom, and I'll see that this adjustment took place, and now the fixed fee is a little bit lower. So that's all for C+'s invoice. Let me just go back and we'll see that those changes were made. I can see the incurred this invoice, that changed. The fixed fee, that also changed. So we were able to make some adjustments in there. So C+ looks fine to me. Now let's go ahead and look at that sub-consultant invoice. That's also part of the invoice because they invoice with the prime. To get to that, I click on this link here. So this is Betamax who invoiced up to C+. See, Betamax, C+. And I can go down. This is the C+, Betamax information right here, Betamax. And they had a lump sum. So I have the ability to view the details of that lump sum if I would like to. And I see that they've got a previous paid external as well as a percent complete of 51.2, meaning that they are due this amount, subtracting out that 12,000. So let's go back. And we'll see they have earned to date that 21,000 minus the 12,000, so they're due 97.77 and 23 cents. If there's additional information that's needed, they possibly they uploaded this progress report here, and you can go ahead and see what they're billing, how they're justifying their work. So for now, I think this Betamax invoice looks fine, so I'm going to go back to previous invoice. And now I have thoroughly examined everything, and I have the ability to either mark it as reviewed, approved, or rejected. So if I reject it, we'll start there, I have to supply a reason. So if I reject it, there needs to be a reason. But for the most part, this one looks fine. It all really depends on how your region handles it. Some of the regions want contract specialists to mark it as reviewed. So let me go up to the top to show you this. Status is submitted right now because it's been submitted to DOT. If I click reviewed, that just means that someone has looked at it and confirmed that it looks fine to them. So the status is reviewed. But that really doesn't do anything. To indicate to our expenditure and accounting people that the invoice is good, it needs to be approved. So I'll click this approved button. And now the status has moved to approved, and our expenditure and accounting people will know that, and then they'll go ahead and pay this invoice in cars.